Have you ever looked into a stranger's eyes and felt something ancient move inside you? Not attraction, not curiosity, something older than both of those. A recognition that sits beneath language, that doesn't ask for explanation because it already knows. You have felt it. In a crowded room, across a dinner table, at the end of a phone call you didn't want to end. That sensation of, I know you. I have always known you. Where have you been? We call it coincidence. We call it chemistry. We call it fate. But the Sufis called it something else entirely. They called it recognition. And they had a precise account of what it is, where it comes from, and why it keeps happening to you in this life, in every life, until you finally understand what it means. They said, you are not meeting this person for the first time. You have never met anyone for the first time. What looks like a first meeting is actually a reunion. What feels like discovery is actually remembrance. And the reason is older than the universe itself. Before this world existed, before the first atom trembled into being, before light separated from darkness, before time began its long unfolding, every soul that would ever live was gathered in a single moment before God. Not as bodies, not as names, as pure presence, as light before it was given a lamp. And God asked one question, a question that echoed through everything before there was anything to echo through. Am I not your Lord? And every soul that would ever breathe, love, grieve, seek, every soul answered together, yes, we testify. That moment is called the Mithaq, the pre-eternal covenant. It is mentioned in the Quran in Surah Al-Araf. And the Sufis spent centuries meditating on what it means. What it means is this. Before you were born, you existed. Before you had a face, you had a presence. Before you had a name, you had a covenant. And in that gathering, before the first morning of the world, every soul saw every other soul. The faces you will recognize in coffee shops, in airports, in dreams you cannot explain. You already knew them there. Before flesh, before names, before time had a direction. So when that stranger looks at you and something moves, what moved is not attraction. What moved is memory. The memory that exists before memory. The recognition of a soul that was present the day you said yes to God. Now, Ibn Arabi takes this further, much further. He said something in the Fusus al-Hikam, his most difficult and most sacred work, that should stop you completely. He said, there is only one being in existence, not one type of being, not one category, one being full stop, one essence, one reality. Everything you see, every face, every enemy, every beloved, every stranger, is that single essence manifesting itself, disclosing itself, looking at itself through different eyes. Think about what that means. Really think about it. Imagine a perfect mirror, vast, flawless, containing everything. Now imagine that mirror cracked into 10 billion pieces and scattered across the earth across thousands of years. Each fragment shows a different angle of the same face, a different quality, a different name. One fragment shows the face of tenderness, another shows severity, another shows patience, another shows creative fire. But they are all reflections of the same source. That is what humanity is. That is what you are. And that is what the person sitting across from you right now. You are not two beings meeting. You are one being encountering itself. The encounter feels profound because it is profound. It is the divine recognizing its own face in a different mirror. This is what Ibn Arabi calls tajalli, divine self-disclosure. God is not hidden behind creation, watching it from a safe distance. God is the act of appearing. Creation is not separate from God. It is God choosing to be seen. Every color, every sound, every human face is a fresh disclosure of the divine essence to itself. And this is why some faces move you, because the particular name of God being disclosed through that face is the same name that your own soul carries. Your fixed essence and their fixed essence are harmonically related. You are different notes of the same divine song. But let us go deeper still. Ibn Arabi introduces a concept that changes everything about how we understand the people in our lives. He calls it the Al-Ain al-Thabita, the fixed essence. Before you were born, not just before, but outside of time entirely, your soul has a permanent form in divine knowledge. Not a shape, not a body, a complete, unique, eternal configuration of divine attributes that God knows and has always known. Your fixed essence is not created when you are born. It is not destroyed when you die. It exists in the divine mind as a stable, unchanging presence, the eternal you, the you that God knows before the first day and after the last. And here is what matters. Your fixed essence has a specific resonance, a precise frequency of longing, of capacity, of spiritual need, written into it by God before the world began. You do not attract people randomly. You attract the souls whose fixed essence completes a question your essence is asking. The specific constellation of divine qualities you carry draws with mathematical precision the specific constellation of qualities that you need to encounter. This is not karma. This is not coincidence. This is not the universe sending you signs. This is qadar, divine decree, the most precise thing that exists. The Quran says God has knowledge of all things before they occur. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The pen has been lifted and the pages have dried." Every meeting you call accidental was written before the pen was lifted from the preserved tablet. Before you were born, the meeting was already written. Before you had a face, the recognition was already certain. Now comes the part that will change how you see every single person in your life. God has 99 names. Each name is a face of the divine. Each name describes a different mode in which the one being encounters itself. But for understanding the people in your life, why they enter, why they stay, why they break you, why they open you, you only need to understand two. Al-Qahhar, the subduer, the dominator, the name of God that overwhelms, that reduces, that removes what should not remain, and Al-Wahhab, the bestower, the pure giver, the name that gives without expectation, without debt, without condition, that pours forth what was withheld. Some people enter your life as Al-Wahhab wearing a human face. They give without taking. They open what was closed in you. They see something in you that you had forgotten was there, and their seeing calls it back into existence. They love you in a way that feels like remembering something you lost before you could name it. You know who these people are. You have been grateful for them in a way that went beyond gratitude, a way that felt almost like worship, though you could not say of what. They were Al-Wahhab, the divine generosity, wearing the face of a friend, a teacher, a stranger who said exactly the right thing at exactly the right moment. Other people enter your life as Al-Qahhar wearing a human face. They break things in you. They expose the parts of you that you had hidden even from yourself. The encounter is painful. Sometimes it is devastating. You do not want them there. You do not understand why they came. But the breaking is not punishment. It is surgery. Al-Qahhar does not destroy for the sake of destruction. It subdues what must be subdued so that what is beneath can finally breathe. The ego is too large, too defended, too certain of its own story, and something has to come and reduce it to its proper size. The Sufis understood that your worst enemy and your deepest beloved are performing the same function. They are both God revealing himself to you through the only language your particular soul could hear. One speaks in the language of gift, the other speaks in the language of loss. But both are speaking the same thing. I am here. I am the one. Pay attention. The tragedy of a life lived without this understanding is that you spend it reacting to the mask, grateful to the giver, resentful of the breaker, without realizing that both hands belong to the same God. The Sufi does not react to the mask. The Sufi looks through the mask. So what does this mean for how you move through the world? Not techniques, not a list. One shift in perception. Just one. The next time someone walks into a room and something moves in you, recognition, love, dread, fury, inexplicable pull, pause. Do not ask, who is this person? Do not ask, what do they want from me? Do not ask, why do I feel this? Ask only, which name of God is looking at me through these eyes? Because behind every human face, behind the kind one and the cruel one, the familiar one and the one you cannot explain, is the same face. And the encounter is always the same encounter, the divine meeting itself in a new mirror. This is what the Sufis call mushahada, direct witnessing. Not the normal way of seeing, filtered through desire and fear and memory, but the way of seeing through all of that, straight to the source, to the face behind the face. When you begin to see this way, and it does not happen overnight, it is the work of years of polishing the heart. Everything changes. Every conversation becomes a form of prayer, because every word is addressed to God wearing a different name. Every reunion becomes a form of prostration, because every recognition is a reminder that the meeting was written before time began. And every goodbye, every painful ending, every inexplicable departure, every loss that felt like it would not survive, becomes trust. Trust in the one who wrote the meeting, who will write the return, who has never stopped writing. You have not been meeting people. You have been meeting God, wearing faces you were designed, from before the first morning of the world, to recognize. And every time you felt that ancient movement inside you, that wordless knowing, that inexplicable pull toward another soul, what you felt was the echo of the mithaq, the memory of the day before days, the day every soul said yes,